I know every one of you has a story about a TV show or movie that you had no business watching as a kid. Today we're talking about TV shows and movies from our childhood that, due to graphic horror content or a lack of political correctness, should not have been consumed by our young, impressionable minds. Welcome back to our channel. I'm Hass.
I'm Cece.
Today we got a hot topic for you. Welcome back to another episode of The Adventures of Cece and Hass, where we focus on socio-political trending topics and pop culture. If you enjoy our content, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share with your friends and family. Also, shout out to Basil at Cool Nerd for these awesome t-shirts.
Thank you, Basil.
We'll leave his Instagram handle in the description below so you can get your own Cool Nerd t-shirt. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
So, confronting racist content as well as issues surrounding sexual consent in films, especially at a young age, can be a real challenge. Whether it be television or movies, this content had a big impact on our individual and collective consciousnesses, as well as leaving many of us with deep emotional imprints. I can attest to that. That might have been hard to shake off as a kid. Many movies and TV shows should have been censored by our parents, but for one reason or another, we were allowed to watch them. Whether that access was a result of a lack of parental supervision, or a misunderstanding of political correctness, or the influence of older siblings, or naughty cousins, because we all know we have some naughty cousins.
Of course.
These shows should have been scrutinized for young viewership. Access to this content shaped our understanding of the world around us and how we should respond to it, whether it was from processing stereotypes, from racially charged sitcoms and cartoons, to internalizing the fear from terrifying elements that horror films evoke. Or it could have been the confusion around sexual consent.
First, we will review the theme of terrifying content, which is presented well in the movie Poltergeist.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a classic horror movie from 1982. The story revolves around a family whose home becomes haunted by malevolent spirits, culminating in the abduction of their youngest daughter by these entities. As a kid, this movie scared the bejesus out of me and several of my friends.
Yeah, in general, especially as a kid, this movie would have been terrifying. And I'm just curious to know, what was the scariest scene to you?
Well, I'm sure you can relate to, seeing something out of the corner of your eye, but not sure if the light is playing a trick on you, right?
Yeah.
So, the scariest scene to me was the scene where where it was thundering and lightning outside, and Carol Ann's brother thinks he sees something outside his window, right? Let's take a look at that scene.
All right.
1,000, 2,000, 3,000.
I mean, it's like a kid's worst nightmare.
Do you see how the blinds let down behind him?
I know, like, let me close the window.
No access here, and you can't get out the door. You see how you just closed the door? The tree did.
And then it's like literally trying to like eat him. It's like,
let me hold on. Why is she holding on to the house? There's a hurricane going on. And then it took the whole tree.
I just remember being a kid seeing this scene, and after watching this, I could not look at a tree the same. I'm serious. I literally, and I grew up in the South where we had big oak trees or pecan trees or whatever they were in our yard, and banging against the window like that, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
I mean, you can see how he is trying his best to ignore and starts counting, just hoping and praying that it's not real. And then the tree literally reaches in and grabs him. I mean, that one scene created a sense of family vulnerability for me and my friends. It unsettled us.
Wow.
You know, that your home, which was usually a safe and familiar place, became this chaotic, dangerous, unpredictable environment. Not to mention the fact that something as innocent as a tree comes to life is trying, and it's trying to eat you.
I mean, you know, it is very unsettling for sure. Because as a kid, you know, you believed in everything. You believed in Santa Claus, you believed in the Tooth Fairy, you believed in the Great Pumpkin. And so this tree coming to life, in my mind, was not that far-fetched. Because, and then I was walking around like, great, okay, something else I gotta worry about, you know. And I can also see how watching this, you know, watching the parents who have no control over this, who are usually figures of safety and security, and how they're struggling against these forces they can't quite control. Right. You know, how that could maybe make a kid feel, you know, instability, like even my parents can't save me, you know. But for me, the scariest scene was, of course, the creepy clown doll scene. Yeah. And this scene is like where the doll comes to life and attacks the brother. So let's take a look at that one. 1 second here, guys. Little technical issues happening.
Technical.
Technical.
Yeah.
Not technical, but technical.
Technical. Play.
It's like that moment where you're like, did it move?
Right. You can't move from your bed, so you're throwing stuff over there.
Yeah.
You know.
The safety of your bed.
The safety of your bed, like, you know, and the covers. Yeah. You know, if you could just get up under the covers, everything was all right.
Oh, she's so cute.
But creepy. Why does she have the head off of her doll?
Who knows?
But he's got his Yoda.
Yeah. And then there's mom. She's been through hell, and she's just trying to get some self-care in, you know, soaking in the tub.
And something wakes him up.
Yeah, the doll moving around.
Ding, 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 ding. That's where you always look as a kid. Is there something under my bed?
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
There's mom getting her self-care in again.
Getting that self-care in while dude's getting choked out. And then they start messing with mom so she can't save homeboy.
Yeah.
Putting her through her own personal hell.
And then he's like up under the bed, like with this crazy clown.
That he does not allow to overpower him.
It's like ripping it apart. I didn't remember that part before.
I mean, it's definitely entertaining. Threw her out of her room and closed the door. Why do you think the ghost was roaring? Like,
Trying to scare her. But she's like, nah, my baby.
Look at all the wind.
Just look at that. It was very scary scene. And dolls are supposed to be so innocent, and then they're also supposed to be like a tool of comfort for kids. And, you know, I collect dolls, and to see something so innocent just suddenly animate and choke you, it's unnerving, especially as a kid. But these types of films are designed to do that. You know, it's designed to play on the common childhood fears, making those fears feel more real and immediate.
I mean, I have one more thing.
What is that?
The central plot, of a child being taken by a ghost into a parallel dimension kind of taps into your primal fears as a child and of separation and abandonment, leaving a lasting impression on dread and helplessness. In my opinion, Poltergeist did a great job of playing into these themes of childhood fear and anxiety, which for any child can have a lasting impact on their sense of security and trust in the world around them.
True, that's very
Likewise, The Exorcist, which was one of the most terrifying films to have seen as a child in 1973. It was a horror film directed by William Friedkin, and it's about a 12-year-old girl named Reagan who is randomly possessed by a demon.
Now, I'm going to try not to get triggered here, but the central theme of demon possession, because this was a tough one for me, but the central theme of demon possession instilled a primal fear in me, primarily because I had grown up super religious, and to me, Satan was not just an entity. In my 6-year-old mind, he was a real person, just hanging out with his hat, waiting for me to mess up so he can send me to hellfire and brimstone.
Hello, little girl.
And, and then also the fact that Reagan's demon possession kind of seemed random, as if just one day you're just suddenly overtaken by a demonic entity. And the idea of something malevolent, that can take control of your body and render you powerless was just a very terrifying idea. And it caused a lot of anxiety for me, okay?
This film contains numerous scenes of graphic and unsettling imagery, such as Reagan's violent behavior towards her mother and even stabbing herself.
Yeah.
The other thing that was shocking was how the demon made her look monstrous.
Yeah.
And the infamous 360-degree head turn still frightens me to this day.
Oh, yeah.
Let's check it out. Did you see how the priest looked like, oh my God, what is going on here? I mean, I felt the same butterflies in my stomach in seeing that, just of watching his reactions.
Yeah.
He was like, he made the scene feel scary to me because of the way he was feeling. It felt like he was feeling really, disturbed in seeing what was going on with this kid.
And the other thing too is I had no idea it had that much cursing in it. I guess I had to come back and watch it as a mom to realize how much cursing it had in it. I mean, before I didn't even notice the cursing. Like, as a kid, I was so traumatized by everything else in the film, I didn't notice it was a lot of cursing. I had no idea.
I mean, these visuals are designed to shock and horrify. But for a child, they can be deeply traumatic.
Oh, for sure, yes.
Leading to nightmares and a persistent fear of the dark or of the unknown. I mean, after seeing this movie, I remember having to turn off the lights, run and jump into the bed, during bedtime.
Yeah.
And I dive into the bed under the covers to shield myself from the dark, as if the covers was going to shield me,
right?
From anything that was out there and unknown.
Right. For me, I just remember. See, I couldn't reveal to my mom that I had actually watched it, right? Because I was supposed to have gone to bed, but my siblings, who were much older than me, I was like 6, they were like 18 and 21, and they let me stay up and watch it. And they knew I shouldn't have been watching that crap. But so I didn't want to tell on them because I didn't want to lose the privilege of being able to watch the show, staying up late. But I just remember I was following her around the house and I was holding on to like her apron and her house dress, and she walked around. It's like, what is wrong with you? And finally I did break down and tell her what had happened, because I was like, I can't sleep by myself, Mama. This is not going to happen. But anyway, moving along. So, as we know, The Exorcist is heavily steeped in religious themes, particularly the battle between good and evil. And for children such as myself, raised in extremely religious households, the film's portrayal of demonic possession and the struggle of faith can evoke existential fears about the presence of evil and vulnerability of the soul. And here's another frightening thing. That part was ingrained in my mind. That right there was, that was ingrained in my mind.
It was definitely, I mean, It was a heavy movie to watch as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, it was heavy for anybody, and definitely, you know, if you're, how old were you when you saw it?
I was at least 7. I had to be about 7 years old.
Yeah, I remember I was 6. You know, I remember clearly.
When I watched this one, and just like Poltergeist, you know, there was a sense of parental helplessness in this film. Reagan's mother was desperate to help her, but had to seek outside intervention.
Yeah.
You know, and as we previously stated, children seeing a parental figure unable to protect or save them from harm can undermine their sense of security and trust.
And the other thing about this film, too, was the possession kind of isolated Reagan from her peers. So I used to feel sorry for her because, you know, no one wanted to be around her. Even her mother was afraid of her. Yeah. And, you know, so this film definitely had the potential to highlight those fears of alienation and being different and ostracized, you know, especially for a child.
Absolutely. I mean, The Exorcist is not just a scary movie. It can be an experience that deeply affects the mental and emotional well-being of a child.
Yeah.
You know, this film's intense horror, religious overtones, and graphic depictions of supernatural events can leave lasting scars, emphasizing the need for age-appropriate viewing and careful consideration of a child's sensitivity to such content.
Right. That's why those naughty cousins, you know. Anyway, this brings us to the theme of non-consensual sexual contact in movies that took place in the 80s. So, for example, you know, John Hughes movies were extremely popular in the 1980s, as we know, and beloved by many, including myself. But, you know, there was an aspect that wasn't entirely innocent about them. So, you know, for example, The Breakfast Club, which was a 1985 teen coming-of-age comedy that featured star Emilio Estevez, Anthony Michael Hall, Judd Nelson, Molly Ringwald, and Ali Sheedy. The film tells the story of 5 teenagers who are from different cliques in high school, and they're all in Saturday detention. So there was this one scene that was kind of troubling, which was where Judd Nelson's character hides under a desk, and he puts his legs between Molly Ringwald's, his head, I'm sorry, he puts his head between Molly Ringwald's legs. And let's take a look at that now.
Let's take a look at it.
Naked lady says.
Oh shit.
Steve! Christ almighty! Forgot my pencil.
It's too cool.
God damn it! What in God's name is going on in here? What was that ruckus?
What ruckus?
I was just in my office and I heard a ruckus.
Could you describe the ruckus, sir?
Watch your tongue, young man. Watch it.
This is a great scene.
What is that? What is that? What is that noise?
What noise?
Really, sir, there wasn't any noise. That noise? Was that the noise you're talking about?
No, it wasn't. That was not the noise I was talking about. Now, I may not have caught you in the act this time, but you can bet I will. You may hook on that, Missy.
Missy.
And you, I will not be made a fool of.
Ugh. This guy.
It was an accident.
You're an asshole.
Sue me.
I mean, she is visibly upset, as you can see, when he attempted to put his head between her legs. But the thing that made it bad, I mean, because she did get a chance to pummel the shit out of him. But the thing is that it was bad because he was just all blasé about it. He was like nonchalant. He didn't really apologize. He was like, it was an accident, when it totally was not an accident. You know, it was totally non-consensual. And I think that in watching the film, you know, as a young person, especially, you know, back then, you know, before we had all these conversations about, you know, the Me Too movement and all these conversations centered around consent and what constitutes consent, that could have confused young guys, you know, thinking, oh, you know, she's just gonna, I could just do this thing and it's not a big deal. And it is a big deal. That was assault,
That could be considered assault. You're right.
Yeah.
Another of John Hughes' films, 16 Candles, is a 1984 teen comedy.
1984.
That stars Anthony Michael Hall and Molly Ringwald.
Yep.
Right? Well, this film centers on a white teenage girl named Samantha.
Right.
Whose family forgets her 16th birthday amidst the chaos of her sister's wedding. And like The Breakfast Club, there's a scene centering around inappropriate sexual contact.
So I'm going to set this scene up for you. So Anthony Michael Hall's character is like this geek, and he's constantly in pursuit of sex with the popular girls. He's obsessed with sex, as young boys often are. And so he is asked by the boyfriend of the school's prom queen to drive her home after a night of partying. And she is very drunk. She is plastered. She is out of her mind. So I'm going to just play this scene for you and you take a look at it here.
Alright, nice car. I mean, he set them up for a dream.
Christmas present to you.
Thank you. Look, we're not going any further until you stop these childish antics, Carolyn.
Don't be such a
Trying to
fool.
be responsible.
Second thought.
And then that falls in his lap. Literally.
This is getting good.
Something about this that always occurred to me is he's got his mouthpiece
Damn, Mama,
in.
got my head, Carolyn.
Yeah.
You wake up.
What the hell am I?
I'll tell you where you are. You'll tell me who you are.
Farmer Ted.
You're in the parking lot across the street from my church.
You own a church?
Really? Classic redirection.
What happened?
I have no idea.
Plausible deniability.
Did I do that to your hair?
At this point, anything's possible.
Boy, he put a trick on her head. Yeah, she doesn't remember.
Did we,
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Why is she pretty sure?
Do you know if, did I enjoy it? Nuts, of course I enjoyed it. I mean, what I meant was, did you?
You know, I have this weird feeling I did.
Boy, he damn near put his hands over his head. I mean, like accomplishment.
But that's what made it so weird was because, on one hand, she's kind of okay with it in the moment, but then, so that definitely would have been confusing.
I mean, in today's society, standards, that would have been considered rape. Now, this went over my young head, because just like you said, she appeared to be interested in furthering some type of relationship, with Hall's character because of the experience they had. Last night. It was very weird. I mean, it definitely sent a confusing message about healthy teenage relationships to kids.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's why we fast forward to 2024 and we kind of have to think about the whole concept of consent, because that's why, now we break it down to say this is what constitutes consent. And this
Yeah.
is when a person can consent and cannot consent.
Yeah.
But going back to the film back then when I saw it, because I think I was a little bit older when I saw this film. When I say older, I mean like I might have been like 16, 17. So when I saw it, I immediately, I remember I saw it with my friend and I, Becky from back in the day, and we immediately knew what had happened was wrong. Like, it was weird. Because we were like, I don't know, because it was already weird that her boyfriend had sent her off drunk,
So
with this other guy.
So in your mind, it didn't go over your head. You did understand that what happened there was not right.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Seriously?
You didn't know.
No,
what
I
was...
mean, at 15 or 16, I most certainly did. As being a 15 or 16-year-old woman, young woman on the precipice of womanhood, that is.
Yeah.
I definitely understood that she was drunk, and that something about having sexual contact when you're drunk like that is not right. I mean, I remember my friends and I talking about it clearly and saying, that part was kind of messed up. But we wanted to root for the nerdy guy because, we wanted him to be able to get the girl.
Right.
But at the same time, it was kind of like the way, and then that whole process of how she was handed off from her boyfriend completely out of her mind to this other guy. And then in between that, we didn't show it, this was kind of a clip of the whole scene, but that whole scene played out where he took her to his friend's house and they were taking pictures and it just kind of is reminiscent of things that started happening in the early 2000s or so when, with cell phones became really prevalent, where people were taking, unpermissioned pictures of young women.
Thank you for staying this far into the video. We hope that you are enjoying the content. It's going a little long, so we're going to have to split it into a second part, which we'll be posting. If you like our content, please like, subscribe, share, comment, be a part of the community. Until the next time, peace.